Everyone, today I want to talk about something we all face, yet often resist change, and more importantly, the courage it takes to embrace it. Change is never easy, especially when it challenges our sense of comfort and familiarity. We are creatures of habit, and the routines we build over time become safe havens, predictable, manageable, and reassuring. Even when those routines no longer serve us, or when they quietly hold us back from growth, the thought of leaving them behind can feel overwhelming. That's because comfort gives us the illusion of control. It wraps around us like a warm blanket, shielding us from uncertainty, but that same comfort can become a cage, preventing us from stepping into the unknown where true growth and opportunity reside. Letting go of comfort requires courage, the kind that doesn't always come naturally. It demands that we question what we've always known, that we face fears we've long avoided, and that we risk failure in pursuit of something greater. This is not to say that comfort is inherently bad. There are seasons in life when stability is necessary, when healing or rest should be prioritized. But when comfort becomes a barrier to progress, when it silences our potential, it's time to reevaluate what we're holding on to. Often the decision to embrace change begins with a simple realization that staying the same is more painful than taking a risk. This turning point might be triggered by dissatisfaction with our current circumstances, the desire for a new challenge, or a quiet voice inside that says, "There's more to life than this." Whatever the reason, the journey toward change starts with a willingness to let go of what's familiar, even if we're not yet sure what will replace it. Letting go of comfort might look like leaving a job that no longer inspires us, ending a relationship that has run its course, or shifting our mindset to break free from negative self-beliefs. It might mean moving to a new place, learning a new skill, or simply saying yes to something we've always been afraid to try. These decisions are never without discomfort and often come with doubt. But discomfort is not the enemy, stagnation is. The process of letting go is rarely instant. It's often messy, uncertain, and filled with emotional ups and downs. We might second guess ourselves, experience setbacks, or long for the safety of our old routines. But each step forward, no matter how small, is an act of courage. Over time, what once felt unfamiliar begins to feel like home, and we realize that we are more adaptable, resilient, and capable than we ever imagined. In the end, the decision to let go of comfort in favor of growth is a gift we give ourselves. It opens the door to transformation, not just in our circumstances, but in who we become. When we stop clinging to the familiar, we make room for something greater to emerge. And it is in that space, between who we were and who we are becoming, that true courage lies. Fear is one of the most natural human emotions. It's hardwired into our biology to protect us from danger, helping us survive by signaling when something feels uncertain, risky, or unfamiliar. When faced with change, fear often shows up first, whispering doubts, amplifying risks, and urging us to stay where we are. It tells us we might fail, be judged, or regret stepping out of our comfort zone. And while fear may be trying to protect us, it often ends up holding us back from the very experiences that could help us grow. But fear alone isn't the problem. The real challenge lies in how we respond to it. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting despite fear. It's the voice that says, "Yes, I'm scared, but I'm going to do it anyway." Every person who has ever taken a bold step forward, whether starting a new career, leaving a toxic environment, speaking up for what's right, or pursuing a dream, has done so not because they were fearless, but because they chose courage over comfort. Courage doesn't always come with fanfare or dramatic gestures. Sometimes it's quiet and personal. It might be making a difficult phone call, admitting you were wrong, asking for help, or simply showing up when you feel like running away. These moments may seem small, but they are powerful acts of bravery. They teach us that we are capable of facing fear without being controlled by it. The tricky thing about fear is that it thrives in silence and inaction. The longer we avoid what scares us, the more intimidating it becomes. But when we confront our fears, when we take that first hesitant step, we begin to weaken their hold over us. We realize that fear, while real, often exaggerates the danger. Many of the things we fear turn out to be manageable, and sometimes even transformative, once we face them. Courage, on the other hand, grows with use. The more we practice it, the stronger it becomes. Each time we choose to act in spite of fear, we build resilience and self-trust. We start to believe in our own ability to handle challenges, recover from setbacks, and adapt to new situations. This growing sense of confidence doesn't eliminate fear, but it gives us the strength to keep moving forward when fear tries to paralyze us. Ultimately, fear may always be part of the journey, but it doesn't have to be the driver. We can acknowledge it, learn from it, and still choose to step forward. Courage is what transforms fear into fuel. It's what propels us beyond our limitations and toward our potential. When we choose courage, we not only change our direction, we change ourselves. And in doing so, we open the door to a life that is richer, fuller, and more aligned with who we truly are. When we embark on a journey of change, one of the biggest obstacles we face is the fear of making mistakes. We worry about doing the wrong thing, choosing the wrong path, or failing in front of others. This fear can be paralyzing, often keeping us from even trying. But the truth is, mistakes are not only inevitable, they are essential. They are not signs of weakness or failure, but rather the building blocks of growth, learning, and resilience. No one achieves success or transformation without stumbling along the way. Every expert, leader, or role model you admire has a history of mistakes behind them. Mistakes are how we learn what doesn't work, how we sharpen our skills, and how we develop the wisdom to make better choices in the future. They provide real-world feedback that theory or preparation alone can't offer. You can read every book, plan every detail, and try to anticipate every outcome, but until you take action, and sometimes fail, you won't truly grow. It's important to shift our mindset around mistakes. Instead of seeing them as something to avoid at all costs, we should view them as valuable lessons. When we make a mistake, we're not starting over from scratch, we're starting over with more experience. We're refining our understanding of what it takes to succeed. This process may not be easy, but it's deeply human. Growth rarely follows a straight line. It twists, turns, and loops back on itself. And at each turn, mistakes guide us toward deeper insight and greater strength. Mistakes also teach us humility and compassion, both for ourselves and for others. When we allow ourselves to be imperfect, we begin to accept that no one gets everything right all the time. This helps us become more forgiving, more empathetic, and more grounded. We stop expecting perfection and start appreciating progress. We understand that failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of how success is built. In a world that often celebrates flawless performance and instant results, admitting to mistakes can feel vulnerable. But vulnerability is not weakness, it's courage in action. It takes strength to admit when we've made a wrong turn and to try again with a better approach. It takes character to learn from a failure rather than give up. And it takes real resilience to keep going after a disappointment, armed with the clarity that only experience can provide. Every mistake is a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. It moves us forward by showing us where to grow. It challenges us to be more creative, more persistent, and more self-aware. When we stop fearing mistakes and start learning from them, we unlock the true power of change. We become more than just survivors of the process. We become masters of it. So embrace your mistakes, let them teach you, let them shape you, and most importantly, let them remind you that you are still moving forward. Personal growth often feels like a distant goal, something big, overwhelming, and out of reach. We tend to imagine it as a dramatic transformation, a sudden realization, or a major life overhaul. But in truth, personal growth doesn't usually happen in giant leaps. It begins with a single step, a small intentional choice that moves us forward, even if only slightly. And that first step, though it may seem insignificant at the time, is the beginning of change. The beauty of that first step is that it breaks inertia. It shifts us from thinking to doing, from hoping to acting. It might be something as simple as waking up earlier, reading one chapter of a book, having a difficult conversation, or admitting a truth to ourselves. The step itself doesn't have to be grand. What matters is that we begin. The act of starting is powerful because it shows us that movement is possible. It disrupts the pattern of staying stuck, and it opens the door to momentum. Often, we wait for the perfect moment to begin. We tell ourselves that we'll change when we have more time, when we feel more confident, or when everything else is in place. But waiting for the perfect conditions only delays growth. The truth is, perfect moments are rare, and usually created, not found. The longer we wait, the more distant our goals seem. But when we take one small step, we realize that we don't need to have everything figured out to make progress. We just need to begin where we are with what we have. That first step also teaches us that we are capable. Self-doubt is one of the biggest barriers to personal growth. It tells us we're not good enough, smart enough, or strong enough to change, but taking action, even in the face of doubt, builds confidence. With each step, we prove to ourselves that we can handle more than we thought. The path may still be uncertain, but we begin to trust ourselves to walk it. Personal growth is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of who we truly are. And that process happens gradually, one decision at a time. With each step, we gain insight, strength, and clarity. We learn from experience, adjust our direction, and keep moving forward. It's a process of becoming, not in a rush, but with intention. It's also important to remember that every step counts. Some days, progress may look like a big win. Other days, it may look like simply not giving up. Both are valid and both move us forward. The key is consistency. Over time, those small steps add up to big change. What once felt impossible begins to feel natural. What once seemed out of reach becomes part of who we are. So if you're standing at the edge of change, wondering how to begin, don't wait for the perfect plan. Just take the first step. Trust that it will lead to the next and then the next, because personal growth doesn't demand perfection. It simply asks for movement, and every journey, no matter how long, begins the same way, with a single courageous step.